So let's do and we start the summary. Thank you for the reminder.
No worries.
Hello, everyone. We'll just give each other another 5 minutes for folks to join. Hi. Can you still see the screen?
Yep.
It's perfect.
Yes, we can see the screen. Thank you.
Excellent. Perfect. Rome is getting there. We had 15 people who accepted.
Yes, hi everyone. Yeah, I think at the moment I'm seeing Eswatini, Malawi, Somalia. I think that's it. So in terms of the English-speaking countries, I think we're just missing 2.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Shall we give it another minute? Or should
yes,
we
maybe.
I think we'll give it till, say, another 2 minutes, 5 past, and then we're going to start. Again, we have folks joining. And I think we have a very lenient timeline for today, or schedule for today within the webinar. So we can accommodate a lot of buffer now. It's not an issue. Great, we're 5 past the hour, so let's get kicked off. And hello and welcome everyone to today's AMP at the Energy Access Investment Forum information session. My name is Sasha Flesch, and I'm a manager with RMI's Africa program. I'm joined here by Maxine Chikumbu, who is also going to be part of presenting this session and will be able to answer a few of your questions. What do we have in store for you today? We have 2 main blocks, and one is around all the logistics around our in-person community of practice. So that means what's in store for the week, which sessions do we have, what opportunities do we have to engage with other organizations, and so on and so forth, plus a few highlights of the logistical note, which I'd like to draw your attention to. There will be obviously enough time to answer any questions that you may have. So please just jump in on any slide and interrupt me if you have any specific question. I'll then hand it over to Maxine in the second half of today's session to provide some context and opportunities for communications, because it's a big event where we can showcase AMP's results, but also our national projects, and that is where we'd like to mobilize and see if you'd like to provide some more information, would like to feature your program or your efforts a bit more. This is where we want to give you the space to shine, and Maxime will tell you the best way to do that. We'll guide you on that. Any questions on the agenda or any items of it? Right. Also, feel free to use the chat function. Perfect. See, Manga, you're in 2 meetings at the same time. It does happen to me too. So fully acknowledge that this it's perfect if you use the chat function. All right. So what's in store for the week? And I mean, what's the purpose and objective of community of practice in-person convenings? And I mean, we have the opportunity. Sorry, we have the community. We have the opportunity to connect with other AMP national projects, which we don't usually have on a day-to-day basis. So we'd like to put a big emphasis on being able to network, exchange ideas, and connect. I think that's the main thing. Well, the second objective here is to advance knowledge. I mean, we have a wealth of know-how and experience within all the AMP national projects that can cross-pollinate and create wonderful new solutions for emerging problems that we have across the continent to scale mini-grids. So this is another area we'd like to tap into and foster that exchange and that knowledge creation. On point number 3, we'd like to see what are the main bottlenecks and barriers that we have or find today in scaling mini-grid or having rapid deployment of mini-grids in countries, and come at and prioritize these and tap into your knowledge base, your experience on how to address those challenges and where further support might be needed. And number 4, I think that will be, you will have ample of opportunity to that, to network across obviously the AMP national programs with a regional program staff, but also there are so many initiatives over there at the Energy Access Investment Forum where you can connect, talk to financiers, to other government officials, to other donors and the like, to connect, or even technology providers, I think, to see where your project can get additional support to scale mini-grids in your country. Any questions, interjections, comments on the purpose and the objectives of the in-person community of practice meeting, or week, we can say? Maxine, can you help me just keep check of the raised hands or anything, because I cannot see it 100%. Thank you. If not, then what's in store for the week? So this is basically the week of the 20th, laid out with all the opportunities that we have at the moment. So we anticipate that Sunday will be an arrival day for most delegations. With our main day, the community of practice in-person convening, where we do a whole day of workshopping, will be on the 20th. Let's see, can I use a laser pointer here? Can you see the laser pointer? And followed by an AMP dinner, where we can further network and exchange thoughts and digest what we actually have learned during the day or found out during the day. The conference, thank you, Christelle. The conference starts from Tuesday and goes up until Thursday. So we will have a few sessions sprinkled in between the forum, where we are offering networking opportunities at our joint booth. So there's an exhibition stand, there's an exhibition planned, which starts on the 21st of May at around 11 a.m. And that is where we have rented a whole booth and a stall where we can feature our work, hold some networking events and sessions as well. And you will
I
hear
just sent
more.
him a text.
Oh, this one. Sasha, you broke for a moment.
Oh, thank you. Where did I break off from?
I think you were speaking about Tuesday.
Tuesday, yes. On Tuesday, thank you for bringing that up. So Tuesday, the 21st of May is when the forum starts. And we have this unique opportunity to use an exhibition booth. So we've rented an exhibition booth until Thursday, where we can feature our work, and especially would like to encourage every national project to bring along any merchandise or any information, or any posters that you have on that to this booth to feature your work on the ground and the impact that you're driving through your program. So that is an opportunity that we have. We also have joint sessions with other communities of practice or with other stakeholders. For example, in this case with AMDA that we have laid out and planned. We have on Wednesday, the 22nd, we are looking for a joint session with Club ER. So the Association of Rural Electrification Agencies, so have an exchange and a knowledge exchange there. There will be an opportunity on Wednesday to listen to the colleagues from the UNDP Center of Rome Learning. So that's all about financing mini grids or downstream financing opportunities. On Thursday, we have a training on regulation, which will be held for around, I think, 2 to 3 hours. So on the Thursday morning, we'll have that. In the afternoon, which is not yet reflected in this schedule, we will have another session with other partners where we have knowledge exchange. On Friday, you'll have the opportunity for a field trip. So we have a few interesting projects in and around Lagos, which we can feature, and we're still in the process of selecting that. So please come prepared for a field trip. Yeah. Then an AMP dinner is being offered for folks who are still there and in Lagos. And you can, and on Saturday, we would say this would be the departing day or departure day from your side. Any questions on the schedule, on the outlined sessions that we have, on the workshops, anything you'd like to know? Just have a look. I don't see any questions in the chat, nor do I see hands raised. Perfect. Please do feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions, yeah? All right, moving along. Just turn this laser pointer off. There we go. So now we're looking at on the main day or at the main day of the 20th of May here. And that's going to be our main session day where we have around 8 to 9 hours of a workshop and convening. So this is a very high level agenda of that day. You will receive an info package with more details. Rest assured, it will not be a boring day. We're quite interactive with a lot of opportunities to connect and to engage, and where we'd like to hear your thoughts. And this is I'll just provide a very rough outline of what we are expecting on the 20th of May. And it starts off with an early morning registration check-in. So convening welcome at around 8:39. We have 4 topics actually for the day, which is around the mini-grid pilot plan. You might notice under AMP there are specific mini-grid deployment methods that would be very conducive, and we have developed a mini-grid pilot plan toolkit as well to guide that decision making and to help you and assist you with deploying mini-grids in the national projects. Then we'll have a collaborative session around identifying cross-national barriers and solutions. I heard during the social environmental safeguards meeting, for example, there was a question around waste management of batteries or PV equipment that we could be able to learn from each other. So these kind of collaborative topics will be identified and prioritized. And then we'll have a joint lunch Then we'd like to deep dive into productive uses of energy, which is an important part of setting up any mini grid, not only to ensure economic sustainability, but also to ensure the impact they bring to the local communities. And last but definitely not least is the communication session, where you will learn a lot around the tools, standard operating procedures that will help us get all these wonderful impacts you make on the ground on your national projects happen, and surface them to the regional and to an international audience, but also on national level. So we'll be happy to provide tips and tricks on how to do that. And I see there's a message in the chat. Thank you, Manga. Yes, we're still tinkling with it, so it's not the final version, but we already got a complaint saying we cannot start this early. We should start at 9. So I would say I'm all with that. So we're very likely going to start at 9 in the morning, and maybe close a bit later, going right into dinner. Again, this is the first day scheduled out. More or less, you will receive a more detailed version. And I think all you should bring for that day is yourself, your ideas, and we'll do the rest. Any questions around this agenda and the topics we'd like to cover on the 20th? No questions, no raised hands, I suppose. Good, then let us look at logistics. And I think most of us have read the logistics notes. And there are a few major points that I would like to remind you of, please. And that is, first of all, please look at the logistic note. The second one is we are trying to make this experience as convenient and as exciting as possible for you and your delegation. So when we send out links to forms, please do answer those forms and fill in your opinion, and fill them in. We're gonna compile this from our end and tailor the program, but also meal requirements and so on and so forth to your preferences. Yeah. So if we don't have the information, we cannot cater to your needs and to your expectations. So please do fill in those forms. First of all, the logistics form, which provides these basic details around dietary requirements and so on and so forth. On travel arrangements, and this is fairly practical. We, as an AMP regional program, cannot support you with your own travel arrangements. So ideally, you have the hotel, you arrive in the morning of the hotel on the 20th, and the room, and this is where we can start the session from and guide you through the rest of the week. That means please book your flights. The Association for Rural Electrification has a preferred partner called Lufthansa, or the Sky, I think it's called Sky Alliance. They offer discounted rates. I'm not sure how those flights work between your respective starting and end destination now, but that might be worth looking into. For the visa, please refer to the Nigerian immigration webpage. If you require a visa, and very often it is the case that one requires the visa invitation letter, please fill in the form on the Energy Access Investment Forum webpage. I've linked it here. And you have it also in your logistic notes. This is where you get an automatically generated invitation letter from the event sponsors, which allows you then to apply for a visa upon arrival, or any kind of visa then to Nigeria. In terms of accommodation, the venue, the forum venue as such, has rooms reserved for the Energy Access Investment Forum participants. However, those rooms are limited. So please try to find a room in the Eco Hotel. If you cannot, there are multiple hotels around that venue which are in walking distance. And I think also when we compared the rates, reasonably priced as well. Medical requirements, please do check that you have, I think, yellow fever is vaccination is required to enter Nigeria. and any medical declarations that are required for for coming to the country. And very important, pick up and drop off from the hotel. Please do organize this yourselves. Most hotels offer this feature or this service at any point. Any immediate questions, reactions to those points? Is it all clear? Seems to be all clear. And again, please help us shape the facilitation or help us with the facilitation by replying to the needs assessment form as well. You will receive an updated information pack with an updated agenda or more detailed agenda and an updated logistics note in the coming week. All right. Good. Any questions? Yes, please. Hassan.
Yes. Thank you, Sasha, for the presentation and guidance on the upcoming event. I have just one question. It's just on the, some of us are some of the AMP projects are under direct implementation. That means it's UNDP handling, the implementation of the project. Although it is direct implementation, but we also have partners within the government. For example, we have partner ministry whom we are working together, in delivering the project. So are there any suggestions on or any opportunity maybe for them to also participate, or I just wanted to ask if there is if any discussion has been made on those areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Hassan. I think that's it's a great question, and I'm so glad that Christella is here, so she might be able to provide some guidance on how to, to look at how partnering governments can participate if they're not implementing directly. Christella, over to you.
Yes, thanks, Sasha, and thanks, Hassan, for the question. Indeed, so I think every national project has, first of all, to look in their project documents and budget to see what was budgeted, because we realize it may not be always the same. The product we've been looking at, they were typically it was planned to have 2 people from the national project travel every year to this kind of event, right? So if it is the case, and of course, you can always do adaptive management, but noting that our room has also limited capacity. So I think typically what we've included is what we've considered is a maximum of 3 people, right, traveling per country. So that would typically be for the nationally implemented project, which is the majority, that would be 2 colleagues from the government. So typically project manager, of course, and then someone else, if possible, someone more at the strategic level, like director level, right, to also have this level represented and making it possible to have some engagement as well at the strategic level. And then the third person would be the country office colleague. So this is what we have in terms of capacity of the room. And so now when it's directly implemented by UNDP, you have a bit of room here, right? Definitely the project manager would need to come, obviously. So this is country office colleague. But then for the, for the other seat that is sort of funded by the national project, I actually would recommend to bring someone from the government, I don't know, your main focal point at the ministry or whoever you feel is really relevant for that. And then the third seat, which is country office, is actually typically self-funded by the country office, because in most national projects, again, there is only 2 seats that are sort of funded by the project. So it's a bit of a case by case, but yeah, for nationally implemented, I would say, 1 or maximum 2 from the country office, and then you have 1 or 2, depending on how you want to be flexible around that, from the government. I don't know if that's clear, Hassan.
Christelle, that's clear. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
So thank you, Christelle. And then any other questions around this?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Good morning. Sorry, I joined in a bit late, and I missed out on a bit of it. But I think on the logistics, and a related question around number of people, it would be great for us to also have a bit of clarity for the Nigeria team. This is happening in Lagos, and yeah, given Christelle's feedback, I wanted a bit of clarity in terms of the number of people you can come with. Of course, beyond the PMU, you know, you have the respective people from the core agency that may be good to have attend, but yeah, just a bit of feedback on that. I missed out on the earlier bits of what was presented, so maybe in terms of content and what things would look like, I don't have as much clarity. I think that would also help us shape how we finalize our attendance. But yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
I think just to recap, just to recap, I think it's expected 2 people plus maybe a third. We have room for, let's say, for around 2 to 3 people from the AP national projects, right? Obviously, with this happening in Lagos, you will definitely have a larger delegation at the EAIF, I suppose, right? So we can definitely look at if we have the participants list and we find out there are less participants than expected, I'm happy to share that with you, Nasser, to arrange and maybe increase the number of people you have in the team that would like to join.
Okay.
But roughly expect 2 to 3 folks. Yeah.
Okay, that's noted. Thank you. Maybe just to understand, is there other, because it's the bigger conference, are there invitees from the REA, maybe perhaps at the senior level, or other programs? Or maybe once you share the participant list, we'll probably have an idea, just to see, you know, maybe others are also invited as a separate arrangement, but if they're around, then it makes it easier to have a bigger participation.
Definitely, that's right. And I think, and just going back for just a quick recap, we have a big workshopping session on the Monday, the 20th of May, where we have folks convened from the communities of practice and the members thereof. And on the 23rd, we have a morning session on regulation training and a field trip. So I think that is just to give you the rough ideas. We'll be looking at the mini grid pilot planning, pilot plan and deployment approaches. We'll be looking at productive use, we'll be looking into common barriers identification and solution session. Plus, we'll be looking at communications as well as central topics of that community of practice workshop day. Again, any additional any questions before I hand it over to Maxine for a quick introduction of herself and then follow up with all the juicy details to communications and the opportunities that we have with this wonderful forum happening in parallel.
Yeah, maybe one point, as just we were talking, just to scan through the application platform for the visa, Nigerian visa. And I think there's so many details to be filled on the type of maybe visa, and you know, whether it is NGO, INGO. Maybe if in the subsequent logistics note, if there could be a guide on, you know, what to choose, maybe I think that would, for the sake of uniformity, I think that would also help. Just a suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you for that comment and suggestion. I mean, we can make generic guidelines, but I think everyone's best served by either navigating through the homepage or just calling the Nigerian embassy in where you're at, because that I think we cannot consider every single case. We don't know every person's organization's background or visa status or immigration status then. So it will be a bit difficult to make a generic guideline that caters to every single what you call it, a combination of folks. So, but we'll do our best to look into this. Yeah. So maybe there's a middle way. Great. Then let me pass it over to Maxine for comms.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Maxine Chumbo. I support, sorry, just to confirm, can you all hear me? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so as I was saying, I support AMP as a communications consultant, both in terms of strategy and implementation. And as Sasha mentioned, I'm here to walk you through the communications considerations around the event, and to solicit your ideas and thoughts on the best way for AMP to show up. So yeah, as I go along, please feel free to interrupt me as well. But we do have I guess, kind of like a discussion portion at the end following the presentation. So I plan to just kind of push along until then. Next slide, please. So yeah, specifically here, the topics we'll go through, there's some overlap with kind of the overarching objectives Sasha went over. But yeah, first of all, you know, as I guess like a sponsor, you know, we do have a couple of benefits geared towards branding and promotion. So we'll review that quickly. Also reiterating that, you know, we do see this event as a great opportunity for AMP's communication strategy. So we'll touch on that as well. We'll share a few ideas that we have as the regional project team and that we plan to kind of execute in some way. We'll share some information or specifics about the booth. And then we'll open the floor to kind of hear what you think would be the best way for you to spotlight your specific countries and national projects. Next slide. Okay, so on sponsorship and the branding package, essentially. So in addition to the various engagements that are going to be taking place throughout the week, you know, AMP does have a speaking slot as part of the forum's broader programming. And then we also do have, of course, passes for, you know, members of the COP to access both the conference and the expo area. The AMP booth, just for your own information, will actually be sitting next to another UNDP booth. And then you will see the AMP logo kind of in a few places. That's just kind of part of the deal, including at the event photo booth as well. And AMP will also be mentioned at the start and the end of the event. So that's going to be great for exposure. Next slide, please. Yeah, and then in terms of, I guess, like opportunities and benefits we see from a communications perspective, also some overlap here. So I just mentioned exposure. So on visibility, you know, this includes, of course, exposure to people who are unfamiliar with AMP, but also kind of a chance to reinforce the brand for those who are aware or involved in some way already. And then, yeah, networking and partnerships. You know, we do want to leverage this moment to create new connections, but also strengthen and foster existing partnerships. It's also going to be an opportunity to showcase the potential and impact. So basically position AMP's, I guess, value proposition, you know, in the decentralized renewable energy sector, as well as spotlighting your national projects, specifically like how they will or already are benefiting rural communities. And then lastly, on the digital assets. So, you know, given that we're going to have so many stakeholders in one location, you know, at the same time, including many of you, you know, we want to collect as much content as possible. So this will include photos, video footage, interviews, and so on. Next slide. So why are we collecting assets? Well, we want to be able to use them both during and after the event to promote AMP, and that's part of the, I guess, the content strategy, which is embedded into the communication strategy. And there are several things we have in mind. You'll see displayed here on the screen, on the right, and that's, or on the left, excuse me, linked to some intended outcomes ranging from, you know, website updates to, you know, a post-event article. And if you do have any ideas, please feel free to share. But this is basically just kind of to give you a flavor of, you know, what we're going to be running around trying to accomplish, and engaging you in the process. So yeah, please come camera ready. Next slide. Thank you. So the booth, so of course that's going to be central to part of these efforts, and your assistance and contributions here will be very much welcome. So you see a kind of a list of what the default package comes with, and then underneath some of the supplies and activities that we're currently looking into. So that includes, brochures or like printed handouts, a banner, some additional signage, posters, and or branded panels. So branded panels, sorry, that basically just means like the inner walls of the booth. Those can be printed on directly if we, coordinate with the service provider. So just wanted to explain that. Possibly a TV monitor. So if we do have that, that will basically be a way for us to curate either a loop of photos or video footage or both, so people can see that as they're walking past. And then we're also looking into doing maybe some giveaways, basically to kind of like attract and engage attendees as they're, walking around and stopping to ask questions. There's also a few things here that are not listed. So for example, we do intend to have a couple more chairs and such. Next slide. Okay, so yeah, we can kind of go into the discussion part of this, which is tied to kind of the solicitation I mentioned earlier, just a question to you all, like what you think you could share in advance to bring to the event to promote your national project and just AMP as a whole. You'll see a list here of what we're asking you to consider, maybe producing and bringing along with you, or working with us to produce and maybe print, depending on what it is. And then if you could quickly jump to the next slide, and then we can go back to this one. Yeah, sorry, just a reminder, as you're thinking about this, we do want to maintain like a level of brand consistency. So even if there's some differences, in the content that or materials you're bringing, maybe some creativity and whatnot, we just want you to keep this in mind, and we can definitely share these details and files and whatnot after. And then if you need something specifically, you can also just like let us know. And then for things like posters, for things like posters, it's likely the scenario will be like, we'll create a template and then you can just like airdrop your resources and then we'll take it from there. But yeah, we can jump back to the next slide. I'm gonna stop there for now and just let you all digest this for a second. And then, so please take a moment to kind of think about this. It may be that you will want to consult your communications focal point and then get back to the group. So that's, of course, an option as well. I'm not sure if I left anything out here. I don't know, Sasha, Caroline, or others. But otherwise, I think, I think we're done with the presentation part of this.
Thank you, Maxine. And I like the sentence, come camera ready phrase. So that's a good reminder for all of us. Any questions, suggestions, comments, anything you'd like to feature during the exhibition or during the event? Any thoughts? Calvin, please.
Yes, thank you, Maxine, for the presentation. I just have a couple of questions, one or two, and I wanted to know, how the booth will run, especially on you say that we will be having a monitor to either present video or pictures or whatever. I wanted to know whether we have enough content, especially on what's been happening in the various national projects. I know we have some material from Nigeria, courtesy of Nasir, thank you. But I don't know whether we have enough materials to, to cater for all those days. And the other question is, what is the arrangement on how the booth will be manned? Like, will we have specific people there? Will we have, like, at some point, will we have someone from the national project just to also answer a couple of questions to people who come by? It's just out of curiosity that I'm asking these questions. Over to you, Sasha and Maxine.
Yeah, no, I mean, so in terms of manning the booth, I mean, based on our conversation so far, I think we're basically going to be rotating and taking turns kind of just, interacting with attendees and whatnot. So more details on the specifics of that. And then as for the content, so yeah, this is basically kind of the purpose of this call, right? We're trying to see like what we do have, totally understand that, you know, different projects are at different points, right, on their timeline. So maybe they might not have as much content as we would like to present at this time. But at the same time, you know, we can still like share, for example, like just some data points about the specific countries, or like information of what they're intending to do, right? So it could be kind of like more like future tense or like outward looking information. And then, I mean, as for like the video and like photos, that's just an idea. We don't have to do that if we feel like, you know, we don't have enough content. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Sasha.
Oh, I think you covered it, but maybe I have a question going back to everyone else. Do you have videos you'd like to feature as our partners, as our community of practice? Or pictures, posters we could project?
Hi everyone. From Nigeria AMP, we already have a few things which, you know, I'm sure the group are aware of. The short documentary that we have. We also have pictures, videos captured from the project sites that we will be developing, and, you know, a bit of information about what we plan to do, which is ongoing, in terms of, you know, sort of 20 projects and other things. But that's it really. So I don't know what else or what may be needed from us that isn't available, and how we can provide that information. And I hear things around posters and other things, maybe some suggestions on what it is we could do, because yeah, I just know that, you know, we've got the video, we've got some additional you know, pictures and things, as well as the plan, you know, centered around the mean and grid pilot plan. But beyond that, you know, everything is still under implementation. So there isn't any specific impact point that we can mention beyond that. So having said this, maybe some feedback on anything else that may be useful, so that we can also prepare and provide as much as possible.
Thank you for providing the context. And we all know that our national projects, all of them, are still at early stages, right? So we will have difficulties sharing impact stories or the like this early into the national projects. So we're aware of that. So what you can expect is that the stall or the booth will have a basic arrangement with some posters around AMP in general. We'll whip up some slides, I think, right, Maxine, to have that monitor always have a slideshow going and rotating and showing the same pictures. We can also think about featuring videos from our not necessarily from the national projects, but also from, you know, off-grid projects within the AMP countries, or the jurisdiction of, for example, the government partners. We can think about expanding that on the screen. We were thinking about posters, right, Maxine and Caroline, to feature any kind of project description that you have, and we can add bits and pieces, what anyone can just has at the moment, to that store, to that basic what you call a setup that we have at the booth. I think that's the way we're approaching this. And if you have anything you'd like to feature, just, you know, bring it along, or just let us know beforehand, and we can try to organize the printing. We'll try to put it into the slideshow and bring it into the format required for the booth or the slideshow or the like. So yeah, I think that's the way we're approaching it, right, Maxine and Caroline?
Yeah, and if it's helpful, so I mentioned templates, so we can also share maybe some sample templates to kind of help you think of like, okay, what maybe like data point or information or project description, like Sasha mentioned, would be most advantageous for your project to share, if that helps.
Does that sort of answer your question, comment, Nasser, or provide some perspective?
Sorry, I was having a bit of a bandwidth issue. Maxine, can you come again on that last bit of the statement? Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying that. So I had mentioned like templates. So I was saying that one thing we can do is like share some sample templates to kind of help maybe help you all figure out like what would be most useful or advantageous for you to share about your national projects. So maybe if you see like examples like, okay, we could probably plug this data point in, plug this photo in, and then have that hanging up. And the posters could be like based on like each country, or maybe it could be like more, we could take more of a thematic approach. But yeah, that's basically what I was saying.
Right, yeah, absolutely. That would be very helpful. It will easily guide us on what to provide. So yeah, I think yeah, that would help a lot. So looking forward to getting that template.
Great. Any other comments, questions, suggestions, wishes, requests? Christelle, please come in.
Yes, no, it was just a comment because Maxine mentioned that our booth will be next to another UNDP booth. So I just wanted to inform colleagues here that, so in addition to sort of the AMP community and delegation, we are also having colleagues from the UNDP Italy partnership. So from the Rome Center, for those of you who are aware, they have an initiative which aims, a partnership with Italy to really identify pipeline of bankable projects. And they are especially active in a few countries in Africa, including some of AMP countries, not all of them, but at least Nigeria, I believe Eswatini as well. So just to say that they will also be present. So of course, there will also be opportunities to discuss. We are also still trying to see whether we'll have some form of session together. And by the way, you notice that the Thursday afternoon still appears as free, but we are still also discussing on potentially filling it with sessions. So don't be too ambitious and start to plan other things, because most likely in the next update we will have actually also other some form of sessions in the afternoon. And maybe also our booth will be one big booth instead of having two booths. But anyway, this kind of detail, we are still, fine-tuning them. But so just so you know that we also have these colleagues participating during that week. Thank you.
Thank you for that additional information. Yes, so another opportunity to cross-collaborate, especially on the financing aspect. Costanza, hi, please come in.
Yes, hi, thanks. It's Costanza from the Mauritania country office. Thanks for the presentation. So I have a question. I work mostly in resource mobilization and partnerships, so I'm supporting the AMP team, but I'm not really, technical as profile. So I wanted to ask you, are there opportunities for resource mobilizations at this type of event? Because I saw like there are other booths there, I saw like European Union. So who participates in terms of, potential donors? Because I think, Julie is connected, is the manager here in Mauritania. So for sure, we have two technical people who could go, but I'm just wondering, if it would make sense, maybe even for me or someone else to join with this in mind, right? Like to better position the project in Mauritania with potential partners. Thanks.
I think that's a wonderful question. I mean, I can get us kicked off, Christelle, and then I think if you have any additional thoughts, we've been talking about this, right? Over the last weeks as well, the opportunities to mobilize resources, since after all, it's an investment forum, right? So we will get a list of participants is what we plan to do, and then arrange some core meetings around with those potential funders and donors. What we did not have on the radar, and that's might be something we should add in the future, or for those sessions with donors, is to have country portfolios highlighted. We're thinking more around on the regional level, what we can offer through the regional project for national projects, but that's another aspect we can include. But yeah, handing it over to Christelle for any additional thoughts, comments, and putting things into perspective here.
No, indeed, Costanza, it's a very important point. And yeah, that's something we can further look at. One element also is that we do have a public speaking engagement sort of booked for AMP. And we are still, again, discussing with the organizer as which of these, public sessions we'll be having this public engagement. It may be in the high level panel, whereby this will also give a lot of visibility to AMP. So that's also an aspect we are looking at. And that's also why we encourage national projects to bring someone from the strategic level, director level, because also the organizer flagged that they're always interested to also have representatives from the governments in these panels, and also bringing some perspective from their countries and including, of course, of AMP, which then can also lead, to resource mobilization. So that's also why we encourage, all of you to try to bring someone a bit senior level to also sort of advocate and promote AMP. But yeah, I think, we will discuss further with RMI on maybe how we can incorporate better some of these elements, and then we can provide more feedback.
Yeah, one way of and I think just high level thinking now is we could, Christella, as we go along, think about having dedicated slots with specific donors where country projects, national project representatives can join, and also raise some points, because sometimes the resource mobilization happens on a national level rather than a regional level, so there could be some opportunity there. But early stages, some food for thought there, definitely. Thank you, Costanza.
Thank you.
Any other questions, requests, things we didn't think about? There must be hundreds of things we didn't think about or consider. All right, if that is not the case, I would like to just take another 3 minutes of yours before we conclude the meeting. And it's basically to draw your attention to the Africa Mini-Grids Program Community of Practice platform. I'm not sure who is on this platform today, or who has ever accessed this platform. Could I just see a raise of hands? No worries. Raise of hands. Okay, we see. Perfect. Any more? Okay, good. That's fair enough, and I think it's fair enough because we have not been advertising it as much as we should have, and that's why I'm taking this opportunity today to walk you through the initial steps of getting registered and walk you through that community of practice platform, and which we'll try to make, I think, at the end of every meeting. Maybe take 2-3 minutes to guide you through that. So let me just quickly unshare and share my screen again to sorry, to find it now. It's always the presentation effect. There we go. Can you see it appear?
Not yet, Sasha.
All right.
Oh, it's coming.
Now it should be.
Yeah. Yes, it's here.
Everybody see it? So you've seen this wonderful homepage of ours. You'd have to navigate under africaminigrids.org. You click on the community, and there you'll find this login button, right? And this is where I ask you to register yourself if you haven't yet to that site. You will, I think, be prompted, or your data will be sent, and I think our administrator will then accept your request for access. And this is basically what the dashboard looks like, or the community of practice. So you have some content around AMP onboarding and other lessons one can learn around select and developing clean power policies and so on and so forth. But we're interested in this Africa Mini-Grids program chat, discussion forum, and the content library. And as you can see here already, we have a few prompts for discussion and topics. And I've set up one information channel. So if you have any burning questions around this event, this in-person event coming up in Lagos, please just register, reply to the post, and then we can answer any questions that you have. Yeah. Just to provide some additional context, we have a repository. We have our members listed here. So if you want to reach out to any folks and any experts or want to reconnect after a meeting we've had, please use this opportunity here and this member list to chat with them or contact them. We have a document section where we have AMP specific documentation. You will find our workshop results in there from the in-person convening. You will see webinars in there, and so on and so forth. And also external resource that we've been collecting. Yes. And that is a very brief walkthrough. Please reach out to me if you have any further questions. I really would like to encourage you to start using this discussion tool, because this, I think, will help us cross-pollinate our ideas and bring solutions to the barriers that are holding back scaling of mini-grids throughout the continent. Any questions on the platform before we give ourselves 2 minutes back for time? No questions, requests? Anything I'm forgetting, Christelle, Caroline, Maxine? Calvin, Zachariah?
No, I think you were quite comprehensive, Sasha.
Right, then thank you. Sorry?
It's clear.
All clear. Thank you, Zachariah. Okay, then if there are no further comments, then I thank you so much for your time and for your questions. We will circulate an updated info pack in the coming days. Please be a bit patient with us. Hassan, we will try to look into the visa question. We will provide some context, maybe some examples on the communications posters, right, Maxine? Please reach out to us if you have any questions, and please start using this community of practice platform. I thank you so much for your time and wish you all a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.